All right, here we have a linear relationship and the sample correlation coefficient, which is represented by the letter R. So they give you four different data sets. Remember that each of these X's represents, each of these little marks on the scatter plot represents a pair, like in this case, an XY pair, in this case, a UV pair, and so on. And those pairs should be, each one of those variables should be measuring quantitative data. All right, so we have some questions. Which data set indicates the strongest negative? So just a real quick reminder, -1 is an extremely strong relationship, and so is +1. They're equally strong, just opposite directions. The weak relationships are around 0. 0 is absolute lack of any linear relation. So -1 and 1 are both far away from 0, as far away as you can. And those are the strongest relationships. Strong means far away from 0. Strongest negative linear relationship between the two variables. Well, if we look here, I can't really see. That's a pretty weak relation. I can't even see if it's positive or negative. This one's negative. They're not super close to the line. The closer they are to a straight line, the closer we would be to -1, which is really strong relationship. This one here is strong, but it's a positive. And then here, the WT combo, here's where you can really picture the line going through those. They're clustered pretty closely, which means we have a strong negative correlation. So that's the WT set there. Which one are we closest to 0? Again, 0 is the weakest relationship between our two quantitative variables, which means you probably won't even see a clear line, and that's what's happening up here in this scatter plot. So the XY would be our weakest relationship. For which data set is the sample correlation equal to -1? Now, -1 is the strongest negative you could have, which means they are lining up precisely on a line. So this one's pretty strong, but they're not exactly on a line. I mean, they're coming off a little bit, right? So I can't really ballpark too well, but if I was going to say something, maybe a -0.8 or something here, maybe a -0.9, but certainly not a -1. -1 means they are straight and precisely on that line. So we would have none of the data sets here. And then for which data set is the sample correlating closest to 1? Now, none are going to be equal to 1, just like the one before, but closest to +1. Well, we're looking for a positive relationship. The only one that I even clearly see a positive is this data right here. And it's also a pretty strong correlation. So it's certainly the strongest positive one we have. By positive, I mean it's an uphill line. Negative would be a downhill line. The MN data set would be the answer to that one. All of those.